According to the Environmental Protection Agency, the United States produces over 268 million tons of waste. However, only around 86 million tons of trash are recycled, which leaves many of us questioning, where does that other 68% go? If you had an empty water bottle and couldn't find the recycling bin, would you take a moment to find it, even if it took more time? Honestly speaking, most of us would not. Recycling is an easy thing people can do to keep our streets cleaner and our landfills emptier. And today I'm going to explain how the lack of awareness for recycling is harming the planet, different ways you can help, and the benefits of recycling. First, I would like to start off by explaining the lack of awareness for recycling in second and third world countries. The webpage titled "Recycling Continues to Take Off but There is Room for Growth" data 2019 provided by Mexico News Daily revealed that Mexico produces over 100,000 tons of trash every day, but less than 10% is recycled. Alejandro Anaya, the vice president of Industrias VQ, which is a company that repurposes recyclable material in Mexico, believes that their low recycling rate can be blamed by a lack of recycling culture. Adults and children have grown used to seeing litter everywhere, and fines for littering are almost non-existent. Once public trash and recycling bins fill up, people have no problem throwing trash on the street. The more time garbage accumulates outside, the more likely it is to start attracting bugs and putrid smells. These unsanitary conditions can add to the development of sickness and disease. The lack of public responsibility and political concern continues to affect many citizens who are trying to make a change. The webpage titled "Litter Choking Streets Throughout Mexico," dated 2007, provided by Chrome. Hector Castillo, a sociologist from Mexico's National Autonomous University, stated that many Mexicans consider trash, including litter, to be somebody else's job to pick up. As you can see from this picture, most of the trash that is floating in the water is plastic bottles, cans, and other recyclable material. Not only does this contaminate water and surrounding wildlife, but it can also affect different underwater operations. When the trash on the streets finds itself in the drainage systems, it forms clogs throughout the system, and oftentimes these clogs can lead to backups and flooding of buildings. Recycling helps result in cleaner surroundings. In India, where litter is graffitiing the street, there are people like Kishwar Jahan, who lives in the slums of Ravidas, New Delhi, and take care and clean their own surroundings, and many others have started to follow behind. This has been the case in many locations, people coming together to form small recycling organizations. Kishwar Jahan said, "Everyone is working together to keep it clean because this is where they live. But if you walk further down from our house, it's dirty because people are not responsible enough." In most areas where a proper recycling system is lacking, the residents that do form small organizations for recycling usually contact a nearby established processing center and attempt to set up a deal where they come and pick up recyclable items from villages. Many participants take the time to separate recyclable items from trash to help make the collection process easier. Now that I have told you about the lack of recycling around the world, I would like to explain how we can solve this. So that we can ensure a cleaner future, people must adapt to cleaner habits and volunteer for local pickups or litter picking. The organization Keep America Beautiful organizes one of the biggest cleanups in America, as they partner with many small organizations throughout different communities in the country. A local recycling center here in Rockford, Illinois partners with Keep America Beautiful, and you can register to volunteer. When you volunteer for a shift, you can expect to be handed a picker and a trash bag. Your job is simply to pick up plastic bottles, old food wrappers, and other various items that crowd streets, parks, and public areas. The webpage titled 8 Ways to Reduce Waste, posted 2022, provided by Nature, revealed that the average American produces 4.4 pounds of trash per day. Some ways to reduce that is using reusable products such as bags, bottles, and straws. Carrying a reusable bottle can be beneficial not just for the environment, but it can also be a good way to save money. Instead of having to pay $5 for a coffee at Starbucks, you can bring your own from home. When you're at the store, try to avoid products such as these that have excessive packaging. And in your home, something you can do is simply separate organic from inorganic, glass bottles from plastic bottles, etc. People must also understand that the world's natural resources are not infinite. Reusing old materials helps make our consumption more sustainable. For example, recycling a car can save more than 2,500 pounds of iron ore, which can then be used for more steelmaking. recycling poses a higher percentage of energy savings, which leads to lower carbon emissions. When you use recycled materials, you no longer need to use energy on obtaining and processing raw materials. The Global Recycling Foundation reported in 2017 that we used a year's worth of resources in just 7 months, and that translates to 11 tons of natural resources for every single person on the earth. So it's important to know what the right way to recycle is, and you'd be shocked at what doesn't make it through. The webpage titled, "What is Recycling Contamination and Why Does It Matter?" dated 2017, provided by Rubicon, talked about a thing called wish cycling, which is the action of throwing something in the recycling bin in hopes that it is recyclable. Something as simple as food with residue on it, as a food container with residue on it, can contaminate an entire batch of good recyclables, and in return it has to be sent to the landfill. An easy way to prevent wish cycling is adapting a system similar to Germany's, where they use a comprehensive system that consists of sorting waste based on color. Plastic goes into yellow, paper goes into blue, and organic material goes into orange. Glass goes into green, and residual waste goes into gray. This is just one of the many things Germany has adapted to maintain a 65% recycling rate, which is the highest in the world. Instead of having one bin where everything is piled in, separating waste by category can help speed up the later parts of the recycling process. Here in America, more places include a third waste bin, such as one of these, which is usually green and is meant for organic material. Now that I have told you about different methods you can adapt to help prevent recyclable waste from ending up in the wrong area, I would like to explain to you a world with nobody recycle anymore. Would you feel comfortable walking down the street nearly tripping on garbage? Would you be happy if you took the most amazing picture only to realize you captured litter in the frame? How upset would you be if you traveled all the way to New York to visit Times Square and you were greeted with smog and the smell of garbage? Or if you were fishing and you caught a fish that was trapped in plastic? The reality is nobody would enjoy any of those things, but our ocean and land continues to be crowded with trash. There already exists a big problem in our ocean. As you can see from this picture, this is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It is in the North Pacific Ocean and is made up of bottles and other recyclable material. But since nobody cares about that, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch could grow from its current size of 2 times the size of Texas to half the size of the United States. To put into further perspective, according to the webpage The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, dated 2016 provided by the National Ocean Service, revealed that it would take 67 ships over 1 year just to clean 1% of the GPGP. And it would take so long because of microplastics, such as the ones you can see here in the picture, which mixes with other garbage and makes it more difficult to collect it. At the end of the day, when you consider the sheer amount of garbage being generated around the world, not recycling a small thing like a soda bottle may not seem like a big deal. But there are already millions of other people in the world with the same exact idea. According to the webpage, The Compounding Effects of Not Recycling, dated 2016, provided by Napa Recycling, states that when you throw trash that is recyclable in the garbage, it ends up in landfills. The bad thing is these items take up space that could be occupied by a non-recyclable material. Experts predict that our landfills will reach their maximum capacity in 11 to 16 years, and once they do, we will need to establish a new area for a landfill. Over time, this causes negative impacts, as these areas are typically rural, and it disrupts wildlife. Today, I told you about the problems that arise from the lack of recycling around the world, the solution to this problem, and the outcome of no recycling. So, are you ready to make a difference? It all starts with you. Even something small like throwing your trash away in the correct bin can make a world of difference. Recycling is something that you can do from home. It's free and it only takes a few moments from your day. Encourage your friends and family to recycle and learn the proper way to do it. If you or anybody has questions on what to recycle, you can always refer to this website from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. And remember to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Of course, there are many people that say recycling is more expensive than it saves. The webpage titled Cost-Benefit Analysis of Recycling in the United States, dated 2014 by the Department of English, states that it costs about $28 to send a ton of trash to the landfill, compared to the $147 it takes to recycle, which can be blamed on the time, money, and energy that is spent collecting and processing recycled materials. Costs for manufacturing virgin materials are less compared to recycling ones, and that explains why items made from recycled materials like clothes cost more than a regular cotton t-shirt. However, despite recycling being expensive, environmentalists agree that it is the best option to keep our world cleaner. But some things do need to be clarified about recycling.